One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Sculley got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product. And as you evolve that great idea, it changes and grows. It never comes out like it starts, because you learn a lot more as you get into the subtleties of it. And you also find there's tremendous trade-offs that you have to make. There are just certain things you can't make electrons do. There are certain things you can't make plastic do or glass do. And as you get into, or factories do, or robots do. And as you get into all these things, designing a product is keeping 5,000 things in your brain, these concepts, and fitting them all together in continuing to push to fit them together in new and different ways to get what you want. And every day you discover something new that is a new problem or a new opportunity to fit these things together a little differently. And it's that process that is the magic.
Okay, I got an idea for a phone app.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's called iCondiment, and you select mustard.
I don't know, I'm not feeling it.
What about an app where people send in ideas for apps, and we charge 99 cents? And we become billionaires. What about an eye buckle? It just goes right on the front of your belt and it buckles.
Well, what happens when you need to use your phone?
Well, then you just undo your belt and then you got your phone.
Then your pants fall down.
Well, you know, yeah. Okay. Instagram, but only for grandmas. Twitter, but you can only use 5 characters. You could say, hello. How about this? Eye taste.
Seriously? Phones are disgusting.
Got an ear taste to it.
This is a horrible idea.
Eyeglasses. The only app you'll ever see. You turn the app on and you put the phone right in front of your face, and then the phone sees for you.
I don't understand.
Okay, let me help you. Okay, so take off these old things.
Okay.
You need your prescription?
No.
Boom.
This is stupid, and it hurts.
Let me see. Yeah. Hey, you look good in these.
Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the grill gun. I would have greened that anyway. I need that!
Welcome back to Sous Vide Everything, guys. As you can see, I have a new toy. Check it out! And I'm gonna let you know everything there is to know about it. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Bob Healy. I'm the inventor of the grill gun and the sous vide gun, and I'm going to do a short video here today to show you how to properly connect them to the propane bottles.
All right, this is Clay Clark here, and what you just saw was my longtime client Bob Healy's company, The Grill Gun, featured on the hit YouTube show called Dude Perfect. So the question is, how does somebody go from a product idea like the grill gun and into a successful company? Well, there's a lot of details that go into that. So I thought I would walk you through specifically what we did to help Bob Healy to grow from a startup to a successful company. So I'm going to take just a few minutes to walk you through this. And that's what we do. People always ask me, what do you do? How do you help clients? So this is specifically what we do. And I'm going to walk you through the steps that we took. So that way you, as a listener out there, if you want to become a business consulting client, you can know what we do for you and what we don't do for you. So step one is we had to define Bob's goals. We had to define the goals. What are the goals? How many sales are you looking to do? So what would define the financial goals? Step one. Step two, we had to determine how many grill guns need to be sold each week to achieve the financial goals. So we had to, step one, we had to figure out the financial goals. Step two, we had to determine how many grill guns need to be sold each week to achieve those goals. All right. Step two is we had to refine the branding. So step three, we had to create a world-class website. Now, someone could argue about what that means, but we wanted to make a website that wouldn't be embarrassing. And when we first met Bob, he didn't have a website that looked good. He was a great guy, but his website wasn't existent. And so we had to build a website that looked good. The next thing we had to do is we had to create an About Us video. We had to create an About Us. Well, what's an About Us video? We had to create a video that talked about the company in a way that other people who are not Bob could understand. So we had to create an About Us video. That's really important. If you're out there listening today, you want to have an About Us video or a My Story video, because you have to have a video that explains to people what your product or service does. Step 5, this is for Bob, what we had to do. We had to create world-class branding, create world-class packaging. What does it mean? World-class packaging. So step 1, we had to define his goals. Step 2, we had to determine how many grill guns need to be sold each week, to achieve the financial goals. Step 3, we had to create a world-class website. Step 4, we had to create an About Us video, an Our Story video. Step number 5, we had to create world-class packaging. Step number 6, we had to create world-class, we did do all these things, a world-class autoresponder email. What does it mean, world-class autoresponder email? Well, it's when someone actually buys something, we want to have some kind of notification that goes to people when they buy something so that they know that the actual product was shipped. Step number 7 we had to create an online shopping cart. We had to create an online shopping cart for Bob Healy and his company, The Grill Gun. Now, after that, we had to create a tracking sheet. We had to create a tracking sheet. Now, why would we have to create a tracking sheet? Well, a tracking sheet allows you as a client and us as a consulting company to point out that you are, in fact, doing well or you're not doing well. We want to track the numbers. And so when you create a tracking sheet, at first, it's not going to be very impressive because you're seeing, well, we spent this much on advertising and we had this many clicks and we sold this many guns. And so it cost us $19.40 per gun we sold. Then you see line 4 here. The next week, we spent $232 on advertising. We had 41,000 impressions, or people that viewed the website for the first time or saw the ads. We had 3,448 clicks, and we sold 31 grill guns for a total of $7.40 per gun. That's what it cost us. It cost us $7.40 per grill gun that we sold. Then the next step, we had to spend $236 the next week on ads. We had this many impressions, 39,114 impressions. We had 4,440 clicks. We sold 25 grill guns at a total of $9.44 per gun sold. Well, over time, you'll start to see that the number of sales we're doing goes up and up and up. We go from 7 grill guns sold to 31 to 222 to 180 to 240. And you start to see real growth here. So the question is, how do you go from selling 7 guns? When I first met Bob, he was selling 0 guns, by the way. And we got him to a point where he was selling hundreds of guns per week. So how do you do that? All right. So step number 9, great question, by the way. Step number 9, we had to create what I call core, repeatable, actionable processes. We had to create the core, repeatable, and this is the part that I love that most people don't like. I love this. Most people don't like this. We had to create the core, repeatable, actionable processes that are needed to achieve success. What? We had to create the core, repeatable, actionable processes that are needed to create success, right? So we had to do this. So what are the steps you had to take every week? Well, one, we had to reach out to our Dream 100 list. So we had to reach out to our Dream 100 list. Someone says, what's the Dream 100 list? I'll come back to that. Next, we had to gather objective Google reviews, all right, Google reviews from actual buyers, right? And then we had to gather video reviews from actual buyers. And then finally, we had to track sales and track customer service feedback. And this became our thing we did every week. So every week, we're reaching out to our Dream 100 list. Every week, we're gathering objective reviews from our actual buyers. Every week, we're gathering video reviews from actual buyers. Every week, we're tracking sales. And every week, we're tracking the customer service feedback. Now, there's a lot of other details that went into this. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what we did to help Bob. So what we did is we started reaching out via the Dream 100. So we made a list of all the top influencers in the world that we thought would be likely to enjoy his product. So we reached out and we called these people, we emailed these people, we reached out primarily via email and calling, because some of these personalities, some of these big YouTube channels, they'll have a way to get in touch with them. Sometimes it's harder to find those people, but we reached out to them consistently. And this was one of the first people to respond to the email we sent him. And we said, Mr. T. Roy Cooks, we love your show. And we wanted to give you a free grill gun. We wanted to give you a free grill gun so that way you could experience what the grill gun is like. The grill gun is a way to cook your food. It's a way to sear steaks. It's a way to quickly light a charcoal grill. And we wanted to send you a free one to see what your thoughts would be. So watch what happened here. Here we go, folks. And
appreciate you joining us. Today, I'm going to show you a brand new device to help you out on your grill.
And this particular commercial or feature took the grill gun from good sales to really good sales. Now, did this person reach out to us? No. Was Bob doing any sales before we met him? No. Did Bob have a great product idea before he met us? Yes. But to go from the idea to a profitable business requires the execution and the implementation of proven processes and systems. And that's what I do. That's what we do. That's what I do. So how do you go from an idea to a super successful implementation of the idea? This is how we do it. So we reach out to him.
Our grill gun right here.
Here we go.
It's mobile. It operates off a 1-pound tank, or it comes with a hose you can attach to your 20-pound tank if you desire. I like this mobile setup best. Just a little 1-pound tank. Turn the valve on top here. Pull the trigger. You got fire. All right. You can adjust the flame here. I ain't turning it up all the way. Or if you need an immediate kick on the handle right here, it's another valve. How about that?
So
This
he
thing is so
features,
mobile, feels balanced.
he featured the product.
If you need to, pull the handle.
Talked about it to his audience.
There we go. Charcoal heats
And
up.
guess what? Sales increased. So what did we do next? Guess what we did? We continually, without emotion, without getting all worked up, no one's crying, we continued to reach out to other restaurants, other influencers, other media influencers, other people with massive YouTube channels, other grilling experts, other people with big channels. We reached out to this guy, Sous Vide Everything. Watch this. Now, again, before we met Bob, he had a great product. It was called the Grill Blazer, the grill gun. It was patented, it was ready to go. No sales. I remember Bob coming in with showing us the demo of the product, and there was no sales. It's a great product, but no sales. So how do we help somebody grow? This is specifically what we do.
Welcome back to Sous Vide Everything, guys. As you can see, I have a new toy. Check it out! And I'm going to let you know.
And we just keep doing this over and over and over. So what did we do? One, we defined the financial goals, right? Step 2, we determined how many grill guns needed to be sold each week to achieve the financial goals. Step 3, we had to create a world-class website, which we do for our clients. Step 4, we had to create, an about us video, our story video. 5, we had to create world-class packaging. 6, we had to create a world-class autoresponder email. 7, we had to create an online shopping cart. 8, we had to create a tracking sheet. 9, we had to create the core repeatable actionable processes that are needed to create success. So 1, we had to commit that every week we're going to reach out to that Dream 100 list. And that's what we did. And we helped Bob to go from a startup to a very successful company. Step 2, we had to gather objective Google reviews from the actual buyers. Step 3, we had to gather video reviews from the actual buyers. Step 4, we had to track the sales. Step 5, we had to track the customer service feedback. Now, step 6, okay, we had to launch and we had to track the online advertisement. We had to track the online advertisement. And again, most people who have a big product idea or have a business or a skill set, maybe you're good at building cabinets or building houses or maintaining vehicles. If you don't know how to do these skill sets, it becomes a digital divide that keeps you from achieving your ultimate success. So everything you see here on grillblazer.com, that's what we helped Bob to do. So although it is exciting and people want to celebrate the success of Bob's Grill Blazer being featured on Dude Perfect, I don't know that a lot of people know the behind the scenes, all the work that went into getting Bob's product from an idea into super success. And I can just say, working with Bob, over time, you started seeing we were doing $26,000 of sales, $40,000 of sales, $42,000 of sales. And as you're growing and growing and growing, then we had to install, a call recording system. We had to install a call recording system. Why? For quality control, right? And I have a company that I actually like called clarityvoice.com. It's called clarityvoice.com. You can use whoever you want to use, but that's who I like. And we had to record calls to make sure that the customer service team was doing a good job, right? We had to do that. We had to install the call recording system for quality control. And then we have to listen to the customer feedback and continue to improve that experience. Then we created a post-purchase wow system. There's a lot of details into that, but the idea was, if you bought a product, are you going to be wowed after you bought it? I mean, imagine you bought a product online and you received a call from the customer service team to make sure that you were happy. So we had to do that. We had to create a directions manual, an instructions manual that made a lot of sense, because, people receive this new product. It's kind of like a flamethrower. Some people struggled to figure out how to use the product properly. And so these are the details we had to do. There's a lot of details there, okay? Then we had to create a Google map for the business. Okay. Now, why do we have to create a Google map for the business? Well, we had to create a Google map for the business because whenever you have a product or service, guess what? Most people will go on to Google and they're going to type in grill gun and they're going to read reviews. They're going to look for reviews and read reviews. And so if you don't have reviews, people are going to then just sort of be unsettled as to whether it's a good purchase or not. So we had to help Bob get those reviews. So how do you get reviews? Well, what we did is we invited Bob to bring his Grill Blazer product to our conferences and bring his product to the conferences. And then we let people, our conference attendees, try out the Grill Blazer to see if they liked it so they could give him a review. So what did we do? We invited Bob to bring his product to our in-person workshops so that our attendees could review the actual product themselves and give Bob product feedback. So here's Tim, a former consultant with us here.
Tim Redmond, and I'm Tulsa, Oklahoma. I love the grill gun. This thing is so easy and it's so powerful.
So this is what we did. We had to get Bob reviews, and he didn't know a lot of people that would give him reviews. So
my name is Clay Stairs. I'm from Skytook, Oklahoma.
So we brought Bob's product to one of our actually many of our conferences, and we let the attendees at our events buy a grill gun at a deeply reduced price. Now remember, this guy had never sold any products at all, and we helped him to go from a complete startup into a very successful company. Now, how do we get those video reviews? We brought him to one of our in-person workshops. We encouraged him to sell his products at a deep discount and then to let people give him feedback. So here's Clay Stairs giving him feedback.
It makes me feel good. Well, I just lit up a chimenea in about a minute using the grill gun. I have just recently bought not a grill gun, but a little starter from the store. It's the only one I could find. The guy said at the True Value, I guess I can probably say that. He said, yeah, it's the best one we got. And it's dinky and it doesn't work.
Then we had to help Bob create all these FAQ videos because over time, more and more people began asking the same questions over and over. How do I properly use my grill gun? How do I set it up? How do I clean it? How do I store it? And so we got with Bob, and each week we would record these FAQ videos.
Hi, I'm Bob Healy. I'm the inventor of the grill gun and the sous vide gun, and I'm going to do a short video here today to show you how to properly connect them to the propane bottles and to have them work correctly.
So we had to record these. Now, this is not an event. This was a process. So every week we began create the FAQ, or frequently asked questions videos. But this is a process that we took him through over time. So again, we went from a brand new startup where he'd never sold any grill guns at all into a ultra successful company. And we want to help you do that too. So let me walk you through how we do that. If you want us to help you, what you want to do is you want to go to thrivetimeshow.com, and we have workshops that we do every 2 months. And those workshops, it's $250, or you can pay whatever price you want to pay. So $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And since 2005, I've been hosting workshops. So these 2-day interactive workshops, we're going to teach you everything you need to know to start or grow a successful company. Marketing, branding, sales, search engine optimization, web development. And our events today offer practical step-by-step business training, hands-on business conferences. They're 2 days. They're interactive. We teach you all the systems. There's no upselling, and you're not going to be hardcore sold at the end of the event. We're not going to push you into buying some magic money program. What we do have available, if people want ongoing consulting, we do offer business consulting. Now, how does that work? Since 2005, I've been consulting businesses, and since 2006, I've been providing graphic design, search engine optimization, branding, print media, photography, videography, all of the work needed to implement and to grow a successful company. So what we do is we charge people $1,700 a month, $1,700 a month, on a month-to-month basis to help them grow their successful company. And what's awesome about it is that we started off with a free 13-point assessment to see if it's a good fit. And then if it is a good fit, and we like you like us, it's a good fit, I actually go over the plan with you in the meeting. So on that first call, we actually go over the plan. So you'll know exactly what the plan is. And then for someone like Bob, I mean, he'd been working on this idea for years. And his accountant kept referring him to me, and people in Tulsa kept referring him to me. And he kept finding me on shows, and he was saying, all paths lead back to you. Man, you must have like a Midas touch. What is your skill set? He actually listened to us daily on a talk radio show as well. It's not that I'm a genius. I just know the proven systems needed to start and grow a successful company. I've been self-employed since I was 16 years old. I know how to start and grow a successful company. That's what Dr. Robert Zellner and I have done. Between he and I, there's the state's largest, one of the state's largest and most successful optometry clinics, one of the most successful men's grooming establishments. I'm involved in a dog training brand called Tip Top Canine, started by Rachel and Ryan Wimpy. I'm involved in a marketing company. I'm involved in an outdoor living company. We're involved in an auto auction. I mean, I go on and on listing all the businesses, but I'm telling you right now, you have the capacity and the tenacity needed to achieve massive success. You can become the next super success story. But to quote Napoleon Hill, the time will never be just right. You must act now. If you want to become the next super success story, you want to become the next Bob Healy, you can do it. And then now on part 2 of today's show, I'm going to play some more audio so you can discover that Bob Healy is in fact a real person and that we did really in fact help him grow his multi-million-dollar company. My name is Clay Clark, reminding you that you smell terrific. On today's show, we find ourselves at the intersection in entrepreneurship as we interview the founder of the grill gun product, Mr. Bob Healy. This engineer of over 30 years has invented a product that combines the look of a gun and that shoots fire so that you can light your charcoal grill within just 60 seconds. But before we talk about Bob and his beautiful, glorious grill gun, let's talk about the products that I've almost invented. Let's talk about the products that you've almost invented. Let's talk about the ideas we've all had that we have not acted upon. Jason, I couldn't sleep all last night. I had this awesome idea.
Oh, no.
Check it out. This idea is going to change the world. Are you familiar with babies?
I used to be one.
Okay, so babies spend all their time doing what?
Crying, eating, pooping?
Crawling.
Ah.
Sure, they crawl, right?
Yes.
So what if we converted their onesie? You know how they wear like one thing?
Oh, yeah.
The onesie where it's like the top and the bottom?
Yeah, it's like a baby sock.
What if we turned that into a mop? So it could be called the baby mop. So your baby's mopping the floor.
And they just clean as it goes. Oh.
Yes.
That's probably the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
What? I thought deeply about that for several minutes. That idea was going to be my path to financial freedom and riches. Okay, fine. You want to rain on my parade? I have another idea. I thought about this last Tuesday. It's incredible. Men like to do what? They get kind of older. They have some success. They're looking to relax. They want to
get a prostate exam.
18 holes.
Well, that's out.
They want to go
golf.
Right. And guys often have to go to the bathroom, right? And when guys go to the bathroom, typically they do what? When they're going to the bathroom, they're looking for a magazine.
Right, they read.
They read now, but what if they invested the time they normally spent reading and spent that time perfecting their putting game? Jason, it's so easy. We could just take the floor around the toilet and turn that into a putting green. No one's thought of this.
Yeah, because it's a bad idea.
You could practice putting while pooping.
That is the worst.
It's the
Please
poop
stop.
the poop putt. The poop putt.
Yeah?
That's it.
Oh,
the
yeah?
poop putt.
Well, hey, this idea is special
I knew
because
it.
it is, in fact, the worst idea that anybody has ever had.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. And Dr. Z, today's show guest deserves some cowbell.
Oh, and he got 4 yeses, too. I know when you fire off a show with 4 yeses, you are fired up and ready to go.
Now, Z, I wanted to allow this listener to be introduced with a kind of a subtle hype intro.
Yes, okay.
So I brought my megaphone with me, and so we'll go ahead and tee it up here. Let me get this ready here. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
All right, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have the inventor of the grill gun, Mr. Bob Healy, an engineer with over 30 years of experience. He's the founder of this great new product. Bob, welcome onto the show. How are you?
Wow, man.
Oh, I'm just fine, Clay. Thank you. Thank you both, Dr. Z and Clay, for having me on today.
Well, tell the listeners out there who are not familiar with the grill gun. I think anybody out there, if you've ever wanted to be an inventor, it's a tough road to go. It's a tough road to go down. See, it's a tough road. And all the listeners right now, if you will go to grillblazer.com, that's grillblazer.com, you can see this product, so you can check it out while he's talking. You can look at it and marinate on it and see it. Talk to us about this grill gun, and when did you first get the idea to make the grill gun?
Oh, well, so the grill gun is a high-powered torch. It's designed to be able to conveniently light charcoal grill in just minutes rather than tens of minutes or half an hour at a time or something like that. It's really not even a tool or a type of tool that people have been or could be familiar with because it's entirely new, both in its purpose and in its appearance. What you do with the grill gun is you use it to light a charcoal grill, and it's designed to fit in your hand comfortably and use safely while you actually light the charcoal almost instantly, warm up your grill, sterilize the grates, start cooking over your charcoal or your smoker, your wood smoker, offset smoker in just minutes. The whole notion of lighting a charcoal grill pretty much instantly is not something that people have done. I know there are a lot of YouTube guys that are out there and people like me who sort of we really like the idea of starting a charcoal real fast and not having to use lighter fluid or wait around on a charcoal chimney or any of the other things that are done for it. And when you light a charcoal with a 400,000 BTU torch, you're basically setting that charcoal on fire and you're cooking off all the debris that's on the grills, and at the same time you're bringing the whole grill up to temperature. So you basically are doing it in just when I go grilling, I'm cooking in 2 or 3 minutes after I start the process.
And Bob,
it's a year-round activity.
And Bob, you're feeling like a man.
Yeah.
You feel like a man.
You're like Rambo of the grill.
I mean, come on now. You just feel like a man. It's a man gun.
Well, it's pretty amazing watching people, their reaction to it, because it just does hit that Y chromosome pretty hard. You're feeling like a man. You're out there at 25 degrees. You like to grill. You can run back in the house where it's warm, but it doesn't matter. You can grill year round. It doesn't have to be an outdoor summertime activity, even though, that's how a lot of people like looking at it.
Now, my understanding is, okay, so we have a grill gun here. This thing can help our listeners light their charcoal grill in 60 seconds, and it's fun, Z. It's fun. It is fun.
Oh, it's fun.
But what does it look like, the grill gun? Does the grill gun, I mean, I've seen some pretty, I don't know the technical term for it, but I've seen some pretty weak versions of what Bob is creating. I've seen people who've tried to create a grill torch.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, it's just,
try again.
And it has the class. Some of these products have the class and quality of like the Chinese finger locks, the paper locks.
Oh, don't kid yourself. That's
so talk to me about this. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Does this feel like a man gun, or does it feel like a meh?
I think one person who interviewed or actually reviewed it said he felt like he had seen Prometheus for the first time. And it was so intense a feeling of looking at a torch that looks like a pistol, like a 45 or a Glock or something like that, a semi-automatic slide action pistol that has a long bell on it. It's about 22 inches long in order to get the barrel away from you so that you can use it without burning yourself. But it looks like a gun. It feels like a gun. It shoots fire. You hold on to it. It fits nicely in your hand. It's well balanced. And you use it to really just basically flood the grill with the heat that you need in order to bring it up to the temperature you want to cook in just, under a minute.
Now, Z, I want to get into the businessy kind of things because this is a business show.
It technically is a business show.
So it's business school without the BS.
Come on now.
So, Bob, you made the product. Z, that's step one. You got to have your product.
That helps.
So step one, you have the product. It's a product idea, step one. Step two, nobody, Z, I'm talking about almost nobody ever goes to step two, and that is make a prototype.
Oh,
check.
Prototype.
He's got he has the prototype. He got the idea.
Yep.
He's got the prototype.
Yes.
Step three, we got to try to sell something.
You got to sell it, baby.
Sell something. Sell
for more
something,
than you make
sell
it.
Something.
That's the key.
So I want to ask you this. Talk to us about if someone wants to buy this thing, can they buy it? What's been your road like of seeing if someone wants to buy it? Because I know you did a demo at the Thrivetime Show conference for our attendees.
Oh yeah.
And I think about 1/3 of the people in attendance, I could be wrong, but I think about 1/3 of the people in attendance said, I definitely want to buy one of these like right now. How can the listeners get a hold of this? How can they buy one? Tell us about selling something.
Okay, so the process of putting this out on the market is when you're trying to bootstrap something up from the bottom without having venture capital or something like that step in and say, here, you need this money, let's go for it. You actually have to determine whether or not people want what you have, what they're willing to pay for what you've got, and then how are you going to get it made? And so I had to figure out, well, first off, there's torches. You can get a torch today if you go down to a hardware store. You can buy one, and it's long, and it's got a long hose, and it goes to a 20-pound tank, and you can look like the dork like I have done for the last 10 years, standing back and flaming up my charcoal grill. And if you want to do that, knock yourself out. Go ahead and do it. And I like I said, I've been doing that for a long time, and I decided to make something that really did the job right. And so it's the same sort of technology in that you're putting high intense fire on a grill, but how do you make that into something that people want? And how do you get it in front of them? So if your listeners have gone to grillblazer.com, they're already taking a look at this. They can see what it looks like, but they can't hold it in their hand.
Why?
And what they can, the reason they can't hold it in their hand is because it's on a computer screen, and they need to order one in order to get one. But in order to do that, that's the hardest part about launching this endeavor is where are you going to come up with the capital to make it happen? And I decided to go the crowdfunding route. And so what I'm asking people to do is to go to the website and entertain themselves, figure out if this is for them, and if it's not, move along. But if it is for them, then take it on good faith that what I'm doing in crowdfunding is I'm using that tool, that whole platform. There are a couple of them out there. I'm looking right now pretty hard at Kickstarter. But you use that platform to allow people to come out and say, I want one, I'll back you, and when you make them, you send them to me. And so the process is pretty straightforward. You basically are pre-selling them. You say, I'm going to make them. If I hit the minimum threshold that I need to have in order to be able to have the finances to make it work, then I can build them. And that's really my business. I've done this all my life. I've made things. It's the easy part is for me. It's my wheelhouse to create a product and figure out how to build it and how to make it a high quality product. But the new part, my new venture really is being out on the sales edge and on the financing edge. How are you going to fund it? How are you going to turn it into a business that everybody wants to get behind? So in order for them to get their hands on one right now, they really can't. I've got a dozen of them that I've made that are prototypes. I've sent them out. People have used them. They kind of rotate around in a pool of grill guns that can be used for the purpose of promotion. But it's a 4 to 6 month process to actually get them in your hands. And so if I were to, like for instance, today with this podcast, with your audience, if enough people actually went out there and said, I want to do this, I want one of those things. And they simply said, in my little get yours now page on the website, if they were to say, I want to support this, I want to do this, then before Christmas, even before Thanksgiving, they could be in production and in your hands. And that's the beauty of crowdfunding, and the direction that I'm taking it here is that I can launch it, I can have it in people's hands, and we can be going down the road.
Bob, for the listeners out there who maybe are pondering, they're going, is this guy delusional? Is this guy crazy? You are a man with an engineering background. How many years have you been an engineer?
Let's see. I'm going to give away my age here, but it's been almost 40 years.
So how many of these people do you need out there right now to say, I want to buy one before we can get this thing in the hands of America?
Well, the way crowdfunding works is you actually set your deadline, your minimum that you absolutely have to have. And I absolutely have to have 1,400 people, that's 1,400, say, I want to have one. And I'm a tenth of the way there after having just a few weeks of just doing advertisement on Google and Facebook. And so the whole Kickstarter community is bigger than that. And so it seems like a real doable number. And if people were to actually just believe that it will happen, if they like it well enough and they say, yeah, I'll support you, then what will happen is when I see that I actually have people up over that number, then I'm going to just email everybody. And so you'd want to put in your email and your text number, and then I'll just do a broadcast to everybody, say the Kickstarter website's up, it's live, go fund it. And as soon as I see that actually has happened and it's funded, then I can actually start the manufacturing process going.
Bob, what made you come up with the grill gun? What were you thinking? Did you fall and hit your head
on the toilet seat?
Did you have a bad accident as a kid from a burn?
This
there's
ice
something.
Cream, this yogurt is curdled.
That's crust.
I feel sick.
Oh,
look what I just drew with my vomit. It's the grill blazer.
How does that happen? Do you have a dream? And this mythical grill gun came to you in the dream and said, make me. What happened?
All of the above. It was...
I was outside talking to a horse. This is what he said to do.
I've been saying, I've been doing this for a long time and putting up with buying torches that a weed torch, a torch that puts out that kind of heat, 400,000 and up BTU is, it's going to burn up fairly quickly. And so I've gone through several of them over the last decade. And I thought, nobody does this. And people come over and they watch me grill. I grill every single week and, or smoke something. And so lots of friends and stuff are used to coming over and they hear the roar of the jet engine as I light the grill and start cooking things in just a minute or two. And they think it's really funny and really cool, but they don't see themselves with this giant long torch hosing down a grill. And so it was a year ago in December 2018, that I was out there grilling, and I thought, if I'm either going to put up with this nonsense for the rest of my life, or I'm going to do something about it. So I just said, I didn't know what a grill gun was. I hadn't ever seen one before. I thought, well, something is better than this, and what is it going to be? And so I went to some friends and my family. I got sons-in-law and sons that are opinionated, and I like their opinions. And so I basically started asking them questions and then formed a list of what we need to have. And then I got busy modeling it. And it was about, so that was December. And it's probably in February, everybody said, oh, you're on with something here. And then by May, I had it, I mean, a year ago, May, so not quite a year ago, I actually had prototypes in my hand. And I then started going down the other channels of, okay, how do I build this? How do I get this cost effective so that I can make it and people can buy it for a reasonable price? And utmost important was the quality of it. So I've designed this to where I'm going to be proud to use every single grill gun that I have for years, not for once or twice or for half a season before it burns up. So it was just a process of saying, I don't know what it is that's going to make my life better, but I know when I see it, I'm going to like it. And so, you know, again, if you're on the website and or your listeners have listened to and gone to the website, they know what I'm talking about here. It's pretty appealing design, and it's really durable, really well designed.
So, Bob, you're basically a big pyro. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're a big pyro.
Well, I'm not as much a pyro as the people that want it. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say this is all kinds of stories about how I've been a pyro my whole life and that sort of thing. And not me, but I can appreciate that there are people that like fire a whole lot.
Now let's talk about this grill gun. Let's get into the rough questions now, the rough ones,
the tough ones.
All right.
Will this blow up? You know, if I turn it on, boom. Will it? I mean, what are the chances? I turn it on. What are the chances I incinerate myself?
Pretty small. I mean, you'd have to be deliberate wanting to do that, because what you're working with is propane gas, and you know, propane gas is explosive. So you could do things that I warn you not to do, like you could turn on the grill gun inside the house and just let it run like that for a while, and then say, okay, I think I got enough propane in here, and then light it. I wouldn't advise that.
That's not a best practice move.
That's not a top 3 thing to do.
Not on top.
No, so the real problem in trying to design and sell something like this, where you're handling that much heat, I'm dealing with the same sort of thing that every torch manufacturer out there has. You've got to build something that's safe, and then you have to warn people about how to use it, because the nuts and bolts of it is you have a propane source, a small 1-pound can, or you can tie it into a 20-pound bottle, and you've got to screw that onto the bottom of the grill gun, and now you've pressurized the grill gun, and that affords the opportunity for the gas to come out the bell. And so when the gas comes out the bell, you want to light it when it comes out, so that you're not just expelling propane in the air, which is explosive. Because if you burn it while it's coming out the bell, you don't have any danger. And there's nothing about the gun itself or the design of the self where it's going to pocket enough propane to explode on its own. It couldn't do that. But what it could do is you could vent it into an environment that, you know, where the gas is itself explosive. But this is not new. The grill gun itself is some really innovative new technology, but the notion of taking gas out of a gas container, propane gas out of a bottle and lighting it on fire is, you know, tried and true for decades. So I'm not doing anything there that's in any way dangerous that would create a problem for anybody to operate one.
What have been, and see, I want to ask Bob. I'm now going to ask Bob the really.
Are you
tough
going deep?
questions.
You're going deep.
What has been as you're building the grill gun, which you can learn more about at the grillblazer.com. It's grillblazer.com. See, that's grillblazer.com. And for all the listeners out there who are going onto the website right now, they're looking at it. What's been the toughest part of trying to take your idea that you are, and I mean this in a nice way, you are passionate in a way about this product that doesn't make sense to most people. Most people like to grill.
Oh, yeah.
And most people want to light the grill in 60 seconds. But most people aren't willing to invest this kind of money and time into coming up with a solution. Bob, as you've been trying to provide the world's best grilling tool possible, What has been the most challenging part of doing this?
Really everything except for designing it and setting up the manufacturing. I mean, it's hard to actually pin that down to one thing, but getting getting in front of people who can help influence, or charcoal influencers, and getting them to pay attention and helping me promote this notion. It's basically you can have the best tool of anything, whatever you want, and if nobody knows about it, you know, you're just sitting there holding them. I could make 5,000 grill guns and put them out in my garage, and then next year I still have 5,000 grill guns out there. So it really is trying to get an audience that wants to buy them. And so it wouldn't make any sense for me to just get excited, 1,400 people excited to buy one and then launch my Kickstarter campaign and then crickets, nobody wants any. So it's the whole aspect of marketing and sales. That's the hard part, because everything else is pretty straightforward.
Z, you've told me for years I'm one of the best tools that the world has not heard of yet.
I
know what you
have,
mean by
and
that.
I promise you,
You've
Bob,
been-
if you put 5,000 of those in your garage, you're going to end up with 4,999. Because I'm going to come over and snipe one of them. So there you have it.
Z, what tough questions do you have for Bob about the process? There's so many listeners out there who want to be an inventor. They want to launch a product. He's done step 1. He had the idea. Step 2, though, he made the prototype. Step 3, he's got to try to sell it. As he's in that pre-selling phase, and it's a weird deal because you got to sell enough to get the money needed to produce a lot. Z, what rude question do you have for Bob? What strong advice did you have for Bob? What do you got there?
How much money do you need right now?
I need $100,000. And if you want to write me a check, Z, I will drive into town.
What are you willing to give up for $100,000? I mean, like a kidney?
Obviously, I'm willing to give up whatever it would take in the form of a loan, and I would also be willing to give up, negotiate on a piece of the equity in the company for whatever the investor thinks that it's worth.
Well, there's
so that's always a negotiation point.
Yeah, there's hundred thousands, tens of thousands of people that'll be listening to this podcast, i.e. radio show. And somewhere, someone's going to get on there and look at grillblazer.com, which I have been looking at now for the entirety of the podcast, looking at it and remembering my experience with the Grill Blazer. It was a cool product.
It's cool.
And I'm sitting out there thinking, there's probably somebody out there that does this. They've got their money in a savings account, drawing nothing. Maybe they got a few thousands in the stock market.
And they're willing to put 100,000 on 10 different businesses, and hopefully one hits.
And they go to themselves. They go to their website. And they go, okay.
How much? What do I get for 100,000?
So how does somebody contact you? What's the best way to contact you? Somebody's listening out there going, you know what? I may want to. It depends on the equity piece you give up. It depends on a lot of things, but still that's negotiable. We don't want to go into that right now in the air. But how does somebody contact you and start that process?
Well, the most direct way that'll get to me is bob@grillblazer.com. And if you don't know anything about the internet and you don't have email and you do have a rotary dial phone, then you could dial 918-960-9690.
What's that number again?
918-960-9690. I think I might have said that wrong the first time.
No,
918-960-9690.
Yeah, it's on your website.
Now, Bob, as we wrap up today's show, what final question do you have for Dr. Zellner? Dr. Zellner is Z, you're a guy that people Shark Tank you all the time. They're always wanting to pick your brain for business tips. Z, is it okay if he asks you any question?
Absolutely.
Okay, Bob, what question do you have for Dr. Z as we wrap up today's show?
So, do you, Dr. Z, have an impression, just having seen the grill gun and you've seen people's reaction to it, do you think that this is something that is, that is a thing that is going to go?
Okay, first of all, I do have an impression. I do Forrest Gump fairly well. That's my boat, Jenny.
Jenny.
Jenny, I was just running.
Just running.
We were like peas and carrots. So
Carrots.
I got a couple of impressions that I do. Number one, on sidebar, you probably don't want to hear all of them today, but
That was a good one, though.
thank you.
Can I do
Thank
this?
you, Clay.
As you're formulating your answer, I'm just going to cue up a little motivational quote that
Oh.
you once. This is a voicemail. I think it came from you to me.
Oh, I did.
And this was then during that phase of our career and life where you called me Happy. That was my nickname, was Happy.
Oh.
I'm just going to cue it up.
Okay, good.
And I'll cue that up as you formulate your answer. That way, what your feedback you give Bob will not either be super euphorically awesome or soul crushing. We don't want that Simon Cowell moment to happen without a lot of premeditative thoughts. So here we go.
I got two thoughts on
You
that.
gotta rise above it.
Oh,
You gotta
you
harness
can
the
write
good
on it.
energy, block out the bad. Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow, Happy. Feel it. It's circular. It's like a carousel. You pay the quarter, you get on the horse. It goes up and down and around. Circular, circle, with the music, the flow. All good things.
All good things.
All right.
Two things, Bob, to answer your serious question. That is, yes, I think it's pretty cool. And I do think there's a market for it. I don't know how many times people look at me and say, there's nothing to buy you. What do you buy the man who has everything? A grill gun.
Agreed.
Number two, I would do my best effort to approach Hasty Bake, to approach Oklahoma Joe's, to approach some barbecue places that, barbecue, i.e., is grilling by almost definition, right, anymore. I would maybe do a co-sponsorship. Maybe it's the...
But what if they steal my idea?
Well, then that's just what you have them sign an NDA before you approach them, and then you talk to them about co-marketing, co-branding this.
But what if they say no?
Then you go to the next one. You knock on another door.
But who do I call?
Ghostbusters. No, I'm sorry. You start off, you make a list, you make your top 100,
Got
or
it.
you make a top 10,
Got it.
top 12,
Got
top 50, okay? People that might be interested in co-managing this with you. Now you're going to have to give up some of the juice. You already said, hey, for $100,000, I'm going to give up some equity position anyway. So maybe you go to somebody who themselves are in the grilling business.
How much would you be willing to give up? You see, if you were in Bob's shoes, let's say, and you get a deal with Hasty Bake says, yeah, we love it. Let's do it. How much equity would you be prepared to give up on a product that would be stillborn, essentially, without funding? How much would you, Z, advise a young man to say, hey, I'm willing to give up? You should be prepared to give up to this much of your company for that funding.
Well, it depends on the amount, and it depends on what I feel like I've already put into it personally. I don't know how much money you've put into this already, but you have put some money in. You have put some time in. I would be able to document that, and I'd be able to get that a reasonable amount of money for that. Okay, how much is the invention worth? Reasonable. How much time have you put in? Reasonable. And how much physical money have you put into it? These are all reasonable numbers that a businessman would want to see.
Shunda.
And so then if 100,000 is a third of that, then I would say they're giving up a third of the equity. I mean, money is money. Cash talks.
So you're saying if Bob put in 100,000 of his own money,
yep,
and Hasty Bake says, hey, we're going to put 100,000, and you said you might be willing to give up 49%.
Correct. I mean, you at the most you want to negotiate. You want to negotiate.
But I mean,
less. At the most, you've got to be ready for that because
you got to be ready for it.
Right. It's kind of like, well, okay, you got 100,000 in. If I'm putting 100,000 in, why are we not more equal? Why are you only going to give up 2% of the company? Don't be stupid like that. You watch Shark Tank and all. Those guys come on there with these ridiculous asks.
So, Bob, does that feedback help you? And do you have any final closing question?
Just drill into that question a little bit deeper. It really wasn't so much how much to give up as you see, Dr. Z, you see a lot of stuff. People try and Shark Tank you all the time. And I'm just curious if I were, not that I'm going to do this, but I just mean on the quality of the kind of product that comes across your desk. Is this the kind of thing that you see that has legs, or is this the kind of thing that you say, next, let's go do something else?
I think it has legs. I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun novelty, but yet useful gift.
It's a gun.
And really, your final price point on it is going to be roughly what? What are you thinking?
Just for easy talking purposes, $100, but that includes shipping. So
see, I think 150. I think 150. I think a guy would pay 150 because this is a completely unnecessary item.
Well, that's the fun of it. I think though you keep it $99.99.
Really,
you know.
$99.99.
Yeah.
What if it was like in the shape of an Uzi or an AR? I mean, for an AR
It looks
themed
pretty
one.
cool. It looks pretty cool. It looks like James Bond would go and take over.
But I mean,
a country
if they had
with
like an AR version, I mean, would you spend up to $150?
You might
something
have
like
different. You could have a rifle. You could have
Yeah,
a little,
rifle.
little 22 version, little bitty flame. If you're a cigar lighter, you want to light your cigar. The grill blazer, the grill gun could be, you could have different variations. Down the road, you could have the. I'm serious. I'm going to pump up the fire.
Or you can have a product that's always fun. You give the gift, and it's the grill blazer line of landmines.
Yeah, that's also fun
So
too.
it just randomly starts. You
just blow it up.
You say, I buried that in your yard, and at some point it will emit flames.
And for $100, I'll tell you where it is. If not, good luck.
I don't need you on my marketing team, Clay.
Oh, you do. You do, my friend.
Yeah,
That's so good.
Great tagline. It can grill charcoal
All I
in 60
gotta do
seconds
is
and
have,
squirrels in 30.
have landmines in the yard.
Take back control of your yard for $100.
Grill a squirrel or charcoal
Yeah.
in 60 seconds.
Yes, I do think it has legs, and like I said, it's a fun gift because it works. It's clean. It looks good. It's well built. I fired the trigger myself, and I think, like I said before, it kind of gets into that, like those catalogs you flip through on the airplane that has
it
all
does.
these gifts for
Oh,
dudes.
it should
that
be
are
on
like,
that.
yeah,
Finger hook catalog. Get
I
myself
mean,
a finger hook catalog. Get myself a recliner with a back scratcher.
Oh, yeah.
And then get myself a
And get
grill
me a
blazer.
grill gun.
And get myself a whole collection of Chinese finger locks.
And then I'm set.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
For the man,
Just the
for the guy who
essentials.
has everything. Now you have your grill gun.
The grill gun.
Yeah.
You can grill a squirrel or charcoal in under 60 seconds.
Guaranteed.
Endorsed by Batman.
That's right.
Okay, Bob. I
And Chuck
appreciate
Norris.
you.
And Chuck Norris.
Bob, it's grillblazer.com. Our listeners out there, I know they're going to go check it out. Grillblazer.com. Check it out. Z, you could be one of the first 1,400 people in America to buy this beautiful item. You'd
The
be a
grill
real
gun endorsed by Chuck Norris. I think that's the tagline.
by the way, if Chuck did endorse this, wouldn't it be over for him? If you got a celebrity endorsement like from Chuck Norris?
That's one of the moves.
That's a move.
That's a move.
That'd be a great move.
Oh, Bob, I appreciate you so much. And Z and I are going to go pontificate about the NFL upcoming draft. We're going to be talking about all things NBA. We got a lot to cover here, Z. So thank you so much, Bob. Have a great day. Jason, have you sincerely ever had an idea to invent something?
Yeah, but they've always been bad. They don't really like service a need.
Okay, so it's just more of something that you've had an idea, thought about it for maybe half a day, and then you move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're out there and you sincerely have an idea or an invention that you want to refine and you want to get launched and turned into something that could make money, that could become a business, I would highly recommend that you start by thinking of problems that real people have and look for a better way to solve that problem, or a way to solve the problem that people really have. That's why I think that the grill gun will do well, because men like to grill, and they sincerely want to use charcoal because it typically tastes better.
Right.
But now you can use the grill gun to light your charcoal grill in just 60 seconds.
Oh, and I've used it, and it saved me so much time. I don't have to taste lighter fluid. It's awesome.
And it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's like a gun-shaped torch. It combines grilling. You got the fire. You got the gun. The whole. It's a fantastic gift. I encourage you to check out the website today. Again, in case you missed it earlier, it's called grillblazer.com. grillblazer.com. And if you're interested in learning how to become the best inventor you can possibly be, I would recommend that everybody goes out and purchases a copy of the book called Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook. Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook by Maurice Kanbar, the creator of Sky Vodka, and a guy that is the holder of an incredible number of patents. The modern needle protector, that's Maurice Kanbar's invention.
Oh, wow.
The Sky Vodka, that's his invention.
It's huge.
You have the modern traffic lights. A lot of people don't realize this, but the modern traffic lights, a lot of them are using Maurice Kanbar's patented invention that makes a strobe light that strobes so fast that the average person doesn't see it strobing, but it dramatically reduces the amount of electricity being used because it's not on the whole time. It's strobing.
Interesting.
This guy's got a ton of inventions, and he wrote how he did it, how to do it, how to invent things, the process. It's not a random thing he's doing here. It's a proven process he's done time and time again, and you can get that book today. It's called Secrets from an Inventor's Notebook by Maurice Kanbar, the creator of Sky Vodka. It's an incredible book. Everybody out there should own it if you're looking to become an inventor. And we like to end each and every show with a boom. And so now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom.
4,000% from February to February. Now, I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Devin, we oftentimes at thrivetimeshow.com, we interact with some really great people. In fact, if anybody goes to thrivetimeshow.com and they schedule that first free 13-point assessment with me, you're sort of like the filter. I mean, you talk to, people every day.
Yep.
And certain people are not a good fit. We call these people happy hopers. And certain people are a good fit. We call these people diligent doers. What's the difference? A diligent doer has an actual product or service that makes sense. They have a prototype or an actual product or service. They have an actual viable plan where they can sell a real product or service to real people. And a happy hoper is somebody that doesn't have a real product or service. And a while back, these wonderful people, they reached out to us and we scheduled a 13-point assessment. And I knew that they would be successful for 2 reasons. One, they are diligent doers. And the second is they had an actual product that they could sell to real people on the real planet Earth. And they gave a sample to my wife. They gave a sample of their product to my wife. And my wife, Devin, who doesn't coach clients, doesn't mentor clients, she stays out of that. She works on the accounting side. She tells me this stuff is incredible. This is incredible stuff. And so at that point, I recognized, we're going to have a business that's going to blow up. And so I wanted to get them on the show while the business is actually taking off. Like they're actually currently joining us from a figurative rocket ship. Their business is taking off next level. I'm excited to have them on. This is the founders of Givaderm. Ladies, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you?
It's such an honor. Thank you so much for having us on. We're having so much fun right now. It's unbelievable.
We're pinching ourselves.
So first off, for people out there that don't know who you two are, I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves and introduce your product so people can Google you and verify you're not a hologram.
Absolutely. So we are a toxin-free skincare company, and we're really trying to bring the words luxury and zero toxicity together. And it's just been a wild ride. Honestly, my mom had a crazy health scare.
Hi, I'm Deborah.
And sorry, I'm Julianne. I'm the co-founder. And I'm her daughter. And so it's just, it's just been a wild ride. And honestly, we were pretty, we knew we had something. We knew we had something that was incredible. But then honestly, we were pretty stagnant. We didn't really know what direction to go. And then all of a sudden, on one of our super late nights, my mom looked at me and she goes, we've heard a lot about Clay, and I think we're supposed to call, maybe get that assessment. And I was like, within 5 seconds, I launched that form over to you guys.
It's a holy moment, actually, because I'm a major introvert. And she's like, I never thought for a minute you'd do that. But I honestly felt like the Lord said, do this. So we did. And I think we shared not yesterday, at the conference last weekend, that this February, from last February, we were up 4,000% in our business.
Can you repeat that? How much have you grown as a person?
4,000% from February to February. Now, I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually. We're
Well,
pinching
and I mean this sincerely, and I wanted to get Devin on the show because she talks to so many wonderful people
We
that
love
go
Devin.
to thrivetimeshow.com. And the challenge we have is that we're sort of like an incubator, and I can only work with 160 clients, you know, so it's like a football team and you only have 52 roster spots. We only have 160. And the reason why is, you know, Devin, with your clients, you meet with your clients once a week.
Yep.
But a client, you might talk to them 3 times during the week.
Right.
Because we're doing the photography, the videography, the web, the search engine, coaching them, guiding them, mentoring them. And I really wanted to drill down into the successes that your business has experienced as a result of you two diligent doers putting in the work there. So first is you guys are doing the Dream 100. Now, the Dream 100 is a system that I don't know why. And Deborah, I'm going to ask you the question. So I don't know why, and I'm not attacking you. This is not a passive aggressive attack. I don't know why people are reluctant to do it. I don't know. So, you know, in my life, anytime I want to get, for example, Tim Tebow to speak at our upcoming business conference, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call. And then if I get rejected, which I often do, I will then email. And if I get rejected via email, I will then text. And if I get rejected, and Devin, you have worked here for about a year-ish.
Almost 2.
2 years. And on the agenda, did I not put on the agenda, book Tim Tebow for June conference? Did I not put it on there for it seemed like maybe 6 consecutive months?
Yes, you did have it on there.
And I've been chasing that reality, turning that into to have Tim Tebow speak at our events for 10 consecutive years. So from the age of 33 to the age of 43, I've had the same action item on my to-do list. And the reason why is because my literary agent, Esther Federkevich, she represents Tim Tebow and myself. And a lot of people in our orbits kept saying, Tim should speak at your conferences. And so, you have to reach out to people you don't know, because this just in, people don't wake up with a burning desire to pay you. And the product, as good as it is, it's not going to sell itself. So even though my wife is saying, Givaderm is hot sauce, it is the best skincare product I've ever seen, everybody should buy this. That doesn't mean people are going to buy it unless they know about you. So I want to ask you that specifically, Deborah, the Dream 100, making a list of 100 people that you do not know and reaching out to them to offer them free samples. What was the challenging part about doing that?
We had to identify our audience first, because your Dream 100 can go everywhere, but you have to specifically identify your audience. And then it is work, because you're kind of intimidated and you're like, is this real? Is this really going to work? And so you just have to press into that and keep pressing into that. And you just do what you're told to do. I know that sounds basic, but that's why we have hired you to tell us what to do. And so we just had to keep at it and keep at it.
Now, Devin, you work with very reasonable clients. None of our clients are unreasonable. Of course not. What is the hard part that people have when you tell them to do the Dream 100? Because these two are doing it. This is something that Juliana and Deborah, they're doing it. What is the issue? As I'm trying to help somebody out there that's stuck.
Dealing with rejection.
There it is. Now,
100%.
I used to stutter as a kid. So let me just walk you through how that works. If you can't speak well and you get mocked at a young age, at a certain point, you just quit caring what people think. So, there's a certain point you just quit caring what people think. So, do you see this, Devin, in our office? We have a lot of employees. Mm-hmm. There's gossip, there's rumors, there's jackassery, whatever. Yesterday I was dealing with a situation, so I just call the person involved, ask them directly, call both people, wrap it up. I don't know if that upsets people. I don't know, but I don't think about it. I just want to solve the problem, and I think we've solved the problem. It could be you, but if you're avoiding conflict or rejection, you're just not going to have success. So pro tip number 1 is you could stutter a lot and then get to a point where you no longer care. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is you just become numb. You just get to a point where you say Matthew 5:10 through 11, blessed are ye who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for ye shall inherit the kingdom of heaven. So you just say, I don't worry about what people think. Or you just run around like you're dumb. I don't know if you go dumb or numb. Juliana, I want to ask you, what's your approach? Do you try to go dumb? Do you try to go numb? Do you try to pray your way through it? How do you push?
All of the above.
All of it.
And I say all of the above. It just depends upon how it hits me. Dumb, numb, and pray through it. It all of those are true. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, just so we're clear about what I mean by this is some strategic stuff here. Being dumb it is a move that I use often. So,
100%.
yesterday I was, and I'll be very vague. Yesterday I was looking at buying a potential property for a thing I'm working on. And, I just began breaking all the boundaries. I don't mind knocking on a door and talking to somebody. I don't mind calling a property that's not for sale and asking, will you sell it? I don't mind talking to the neighbor and saying, what do you know about this property? I don't mind. And I just sort of go in like I'm dumb, like, hey, everybody, is this property for sale? I mean, that's just sort of the mindset. And certain people go, I can't believe you just did that, but okay, that works. Or you can get numb, but you got to do it. Okay, so you made the Dream 100 of these influencers, people that have access to the your ideal and likely buyers. You've given them samples. That's working. Second is you have to optimize the pricing. Now, the pricing is a thing, Devin, and I'm sure you've never dealt with this. Your clients haven't either. I'm sure the Give It Nerve folks haven't either. But I find a lot of people are afraid to charge what something's worth.
Yeah.
So let me start with an example of that doesn't relate to anybody I've ever met before. And this would be the entrepreneur that has a great product, but is afraid to charge what they should charge because they don't want to offend, they don't want to overcharge, they don't want to take advantage of. And so they actually create an unprofitable business. So the more they sell, the more they create a daily hell. What am I saying? The more they sell, the more they create this perpetual hell because they actually are selling something at a loss or they're barely breaking even. I talked to just the other day, I was talking to a home remodeler who was telling me that the busier he gets, the more money he loses. He was at our conference. And I go, how does that work? And he's like, well, I don't want to gouge people. And I said, so what? And so this guy, he's not a client, but he came to our conference and he was telling me that his business, he listens to our show and he's been implementing the things he can without being a client. And he said, but the problem is the more business I get, the more I lose money. And I go, how is that possible? And he's actually charging people what it costs him to provide the service, or he's doing it at a loss. And I couldn't understand it. I want to ask you two now, going back to Deborah here on the pricing thing. Has that been something that we've worked through together, or maybe what's your, how have we kind of coached you or worked with you on the pricing?
Yeah, well, Andrew, our coach, has worked with us because I am one of those people that as a consumer, I watch the budget. And so at the same time, our products have incredible ingredients and they are all natural. So we have to cover our expenses. And so you guys have worked with us to watch our margins, to be able to know what our margins are and know what we have to price, or we're not going to be able to make this company available. We won't make it. And so you guys have been incredible, an incredible asset helping us do that.
I want to ask your thoughts here, Juliana. Talk to me about that, the pricing thing. What have we helped you through the pricing, or what would be your comments on that?
100%. Actually, it is interesting because when you set your prices where they need to be, that it actually attracts the customers that you want. And although it's been hard to consider pricing and hard to consider what we need to make, what, like, as far as just covering the costs, and then what we need to make on top of that to just continue to be sustainable, it is incredible because it's been I feel like I said, it's attracting your ideal and likely buyer. So it's beautiful.
How has coaching, we'll get into more details, but how has coaching, Juliana, how has that impacted your business? If you had to describe it to somebody, you're sitting next to someone at a conference and they're like, okay, so you've worked with, Clay Clark's coaching system, or with, you've worked with Devin, or you've worked with Andrew, because you've probably interacted with our whole team at this point. I mean, you've probably talked to Devin on the phone. You've probably been to a conference. You've probably interacted with Andrew every week on the phone. You've probably interacted with our whole team at this point. And someone says to you, how has it impacted your life? What would you say?
I would say it's the equivalent. I've never seen the show, but I've heard of the show Naked and Afraid, where you're dumped in the middle of God only knows where. And it's like, you know what? I have this great idea. I want to be dumped in the middle of God only knows where, and I have a product that will help people, but I don't know how to actually make a way. And it's literally like hiring a guide that is experienced, that knows what they're doing, and that can really just absolutely, even when there have been times that I'm like, I don't even know where we are. I feel like I'm totally blind, even in the initial coaching process. And it was like, okay, but great news. We've got our coach call tomorrow. It's gonna be
Yes.
great. And
Yes.
so it's just this incredible feeling of knowing that somebody has our back and knowing that they know what to do. And then also knowing that, and honestly, I would be a little bit disappointed if I hired a business coach that wasn't a multimillionaire. And so, I'm just super grateful that you're successful. And so we wanted to go, you know what, he must know if he must know a
Yeah.
few things or a few thing or two.
Rates
So,
are right. Yeah.
That's
so
funny.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
what's interesting about what we do is, last night, I'll be very vague because I don't know when the show's coming out. I don't want to date the show that way. But, last night my wife and I were talking about some things, and she said to me, she goes, I'm so glad that I'm aware of how to achieve success, because when our daughter asks, it's great to be able to tell her the answers. She was just she was kind of reflecting because our daughter's 20 years old and she's asking questions about buying her first property, and my wife is like, well, you want to buy low, obviously. Yeah, buy low, but you want to think about that. And my wife started talking to her about generating revenue streams. Like, you want to have a property where you could maybe rent out an extra room to someone you can trust, or maybe you could rent it out in the future, or maybe you buy it low, you add value to it. And my wife was really getting into like a home flipping seminar.
Wow.
But it was a thing where we've just done it so much that we forgot that is a question that a 19-year-old has or a 20-year-old has. That people have never bought a house before. And my wife was putting on this like home flipping seminar of what makes a home more valuable, the moves you can do that are inexpensive but add a lot of life to the property. And again, if you've never flipped a house before, it can be overwhelming. But in our case, we've done it so much. The other day, someone was asking us, I think my wife and I have lived in 15 separate houses. It could be 16 because we just were buying, renovating, moving, and we just doing it. And so it's kind of become normal. Growing a business is kind of normal. So if you're out there watching today and you feel overwhelmed, you feel stuck, these are two great examples of people that are real people we've actually worked with. We are working with. They are currently in the figurative rocket ship. The figurative rocket ship. They're blasting off. Sales are happening nonstop. I appreciate them taking some time to talk to us about this. The next is we got to track. We have to track. And people always tell me, I'm so busy, I don't have time to track. Now, Devin, your clients have never told you that.
No.
But can you walk me through why other people who don't listen to our show and are not your clients, why people might not track?
They're scared to look at the numbers.
There's a thing there. The other thing I would say is people like to always delegate to their spouse, to their partner. So the alpha, if it's a female-owned business and the woman is the founder, she will usually delegate the finances to the person that joined. Like, so the founder usually likes to delegate the finances to somebody else. That's usually what happens. Or if it's a male, he'll delegate it to, his wife. Or if it's the wife who started it, she'll delegate it to her husband. Or if it's a sister, she'll delegate it to her brother. It seems like in the family-owned business, the founder always delegates the tracking to somebody else. I just see that as a pattern. And it seems like if they're not related, it just seems like they'll delegate it to whoever they just hired. So imagine you go to work for someone, you're 25 years old, you just got hired by a 40-year-old, and they go, hey, by the way, you're in charge of tracking. And I see that. And then the person who's in charge of tracking, they might not be diligent. They might be disorganized. They might be organized. I don't know. But what happens is then they sort of now have removed themselves from direct responsibility. I wanted to ask you, Deborah, on the tracking, how do you two track? Because it is really depressing when you're tracking 100% of zero sales this week. I mean, that can be depressing. And it could seem like a waste of time, but now as you're actually selling, it becomes increasingly important. So start with you there, Deborah. The tracking thing, how do you guys handle that?
Well, we have our tracking sheet that Andrew helped us put together. And you're right, it's absolutely mandatory. And because we have a product that has to be manufactured, you have to know how much every item costs down to the packing tape, the fragile stickers, and all this kind of stuff. So it's imperative that you know what's happening. And that's what, and like I said, Andrew's helped. We do that together. We kind of stay in it. I tend to lean into the manufacturing part of it, where I needed to know exactly how much that shipper cost, exactly how much, that void fill cost, exactly how much the decoration on our bottles, all that you have to know it. Otherwise you'll wake up one day and you're consumed, you're done. So
Juliana,
you just have to know it.
You have any thoughts on that? Because again, you two are working as a business owner. You're doing the marketing, the sales, the hiring, the firing. They're shipping things. How would you describe your tracking process?
You know what, before we I mean, we had an approximate idea before we started working with you, but then getting the specifics has been incredible. And it's not hard. It's just anything that goes out, you track, and then anything that comes in, you track. But it does take effort. You have to put a little bit of effort into it. And so I would just say it's invaluable. It's one of those things that if you don't understand potentially where there's a leak in the boat, if then you just have to, because you have to do these. It's basically constant
to-dos as well.
Yeah, like constant weekly inspections of the boat, if you will. And so it's really good.
It is. And again, this is so big. Constant inspections. I think that a lot of people struggle with boredom. But the great clients I've had, they bore down. So you have to do the same thing every day. Devin, have you ever worked at a restaurant?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
Oh man. You probably never will then. But have you two ever worked at a restaurant? Julianne, have you ever worked at a restaurant?
No.
Ever have you? Well, let me walk you through. Let me just walk you through my experience at Applebee's. I'll walk you through Applebee's. I worked at Applebee's. And our job is every single day when I worked there, 20 something years ago, you have to have out the fresh salad. So you open up that walk-in freezer, and a guy from Cisco or whoever delivers the salad, he's going to deliver the fresh salad, and you have to throw away the bad salad every single day. You bring in the fresh meat, you throw out the bad meat every single day. Then you prepare your they call it the house salad prep. So you basically make the house salads and you put them in this room. And so when somebody orders it, they're ready to go, and you have to, there's like a process. Every day you clean the bathrooms. Every single day you wipe off all the tables. Every single day you dust every single window. Every single day you wipe off the glass. And it's a checklist every day. And I found that the top waiters, of which I was not one, I had a good attitude, but I wasn't nearly as skilled as other people who had been doing it a long time. They would come in to work right away and they would wipe down the windows, mop the floor, get everything ready to go. And they were ready to go before the first customer walked in. But I found that the bad ones would always say things like, all we ever do is do the same thing every day. And then my boss, Ian, would go, yeah, because it's a restaurant. And all we ever do is serve food to great people. That's what we do. So, but I think certain people get bored with that monotonous stuff, and you guys do a really good job of nailing that. The next is the website creation. And the website, it's not a one and done. It is a process of continual improvement. There's endless iterations. We're always updating. I'm never happy with the website. I'm happy today. But if I look at it too long, I go, I kind of want to tweak that. We always want to make a small little enhancement. We always want to add a new testimonial. We always want to add a new endorsement. As I look at it right now, just my pro tip, and I'll tell Andrew, but maybe you can tell him that I told you this before you talk to Andrew. Any of the bigger names that are starting to endorse you, we get the as seen on, like endorsed by. So when you click on testimonials, it's like endorsed by, and you start to get more and more big names. So I look at one of my clients called Moms on a Mission. What a great job she does. And as she's booking bigger and bigger guests, we keep adding the as seen on. Now, you don't want it to get in the way of the product, but you got to make sure we get, because you're starting to have some big time names that endorse your product. Could you share with the listeners, what's it been like having a consultant that also does the web development? Because we do the photography, the video, the web, the search engine, all of that is all one-stop shop. What's that been like there, Deborah, having just a one-stop shop for everything?
There are really no words, because whenever you're trying to start a business, you're so overwhelmed. You're watching everything. This is new territory for you, so you're having to learn everything the best you can. So to have someone come in that is an expert in this field and can say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do. It's like done. I mean, also the pricing, as I've heard, but thank God we didn't go there, but to have someone develop your website is astoundingly outrageous. So to be able to have that incorporated in the coaching has been such a blessing. It's just been, there are really few words. Without a website, we're sunk. So.
Devin, I want to tell you a story that's going to depress you, okay?
Okay.
How old are you right now? How old are you?
23.
Okay, so when you were not born yet, you're not yet born. Seriously, when you were not born yet, I started this. Your mom and dad are probably on a date. I started this company called DJ Connection, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to do is I'm going to work at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. That's a true story. So 1998, 1997, I'm growing this business. 1999, I'm growing it. And I got this website. I needed a website, needed to have a website. So I went to a web guy. I won't mention the guy's name, although I want to. Well, I know I will mention it. I will mention the website because it's not a bad thing. It's just a fact. So I hired a company called Creative State to build my website for me. It's called Creative State. And Brent Lawless was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is his company, Creative State Web Development. There it is. Boom. And I paid him to build my website for me. And, it was at that time, I look back at it and I go, wow. But we're talking about thousands of dollars was spent to build said website, and thousands and thousands. And so I was paying unbelievable amounts of money. We're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to build the website. And then every time I wanted to make a change, there were certain costs to it. Now, he's gone on to build, website products and promotion for Taylor Swift. He's done stuff for Garth Brooks, and he's really a kind of a household name boutique in the web space. He's done a great job. But my thought was, if I'm going to build a website, I want to have the guy who built Garth Brooks's website. Because at that time, Garth Brooks was like the #1 music star in the world. I'm going to hire that guy. And I'm glad I did. But if I were to tell you that it was $1,700 a month, because we charge our clients $1,700 a month, it's a flat rate, $1,700 per month. And that includes the coaching, the mentorship, the conferences, everything, all the introductions, all the PR, all the marketing, the video, the photography, the web, the accounting. But this guy, he didn't apologize for the price. You can imagine, because the guy's built the website for Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks. You can imagine. So it's more like, well, $15,000, we'll get a conversation started. And I'm going, and I just remember him saying to me, I remember people telling me, well, you need to get a video on your website. I thought, I do need to get a video on my website. So all I'll do is I'll get a video on my website. And I go, so do you guys do the video? He goes, no, we don't do video. But I have a guy I recommend. And the video guy says, true story, for $8,000, I could make you the promotional video. $8,000. I'm going, $8,000. Okay, and then the website's 15. I'm up to 23. I work at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. I'm making like $8.25 an hour plus tips sometimes at Applebee's. You don't get tips at Target. So I'm working, and then I go, okay, and then I need to hire a PR person to help me do my PR, to get in front of the media, to get, and the PR people are like, well, it's a retainer, and it'll be, $5,000 a month for 1 year. So I'm out $60,000 for that. I got the website. So then I start thinking, I need to sell something. Because I'm going to need to sell something soon. So my Yellow Page ad was $2,500 a month for my Yellow Page ad on top of the other things. So I remember it was the craziest thing ever, because I'm working at Applebee's. Could you imagine, Devin, right now at your age, could you imagine you talk to your mom and dad, and your mom and dad says, how are you? And you say, I'm doing great. They say, what have you been up to? You said, I agreed to pay $2,500 a month for the next year on an ad that hasn't been proven to work. And by the way, I'm paying a PR company $4,000 a month. And by the way, BruceClay.com, that's the search engine company that is probably the highest rated, he writes the Search Engine for Dummies book. And you're going to pay about $8,000 a month for a 12-month contract. So you're, $96,000 to teach to have him. Could you imagine explaining that to your mom or your dad? How would that go over?
They'd think I'm stupid or something.
If you guys were building Give a Durham today, and imagine you hopped on your coaching call with Andrew, and Andrew says, what you need to do is you need to go out there and pay $2,500 a month for your advertising, pay $4,000 a month for PR, $15,000 for the website. But every time you make a change, it's like $1,000. And then you also, what would happen there, Juliana, if that was the recommendations he was going to give you?
Fight or freeze or whatever. I don't know. Like I think I would just be like, bye. Like, good luck with everything. I can't do it. Like, it's just not sustainable.
This is what I did. I took a photo with the Yellow Page guy. I said, if I'm going to pay you $2,500 a month, I need a photo. So there he is, Jeremy McCaslin. Awesome. Did a photo with my Yellow Page guy. And that's the kind of stuff I would do just to kind of capture it. But I always thought to myself, at some point, I'm going to build when people started asking me to help them grow their company, I thought, you know what, I'm going to provide the entire coaching system for less money than it would cost to hire an hourly employee. And so now, final thing I want to ask you guys is we help you with the systems, creating the systems, the optimization, turnkey, the entire workflow, marketing, sales, branding, PR, accounting, all of it coming together as one unified song, all the different instruments put together. They make a beautiful orchestra. It all comes together. want to ask you this, Deborah. What's that worth to you? I know you pay $1,700 a month. I know that I make a 20% profit on every client. So we make, just to be very clear, $340 a month per client. What's that been worth to you?
Wait, sincerely, everything. I don't want to use cliche words, but I can't find words that could adequately describe how you have literally changed our lives. It made it affordable. It made it affordable. Yes, 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 yes. I'm not saying that, I was $1,700 a month. But then when you saw everything that is included, it's like, oh my gosh, it's only $1,700 a month. But it has changed our life. Our company, I can say hand on heart, our company would not be where it is without you guys. Hand on heart. There's absolutely no way. You've brought us the experience, the connections, the consistency, the kick in the pants when we needed it. Oh, we didn't need it hardly at all, Andrew. And so we're just there's sincerely, it's very hard to express how amazed we are. And we do feel like God was on this from the beginning. And we thank him for introducing us to you guys. And then you guys have just, we've literally hitched our wagon to your horses. And that's
true.
what it's been like. That's what
It's
we
true.
talk about that a lot. And we're pinching ourselves. I mean, how often can someone say in 2.5 days, we bettered a month's worth of sales, which was 4,000% higher than the year before. I mean, and the phone's blowing up. I mean,
Now, obviously, Deborah is paying us, Devin, to say that. So we'll go to a more reasonable person. Juliana, how would you describe it? Because there's somebody out there right now who believes that they don't qualify for success. That's what I hear all the time. And I grew up poor, and I'll never forget what it was like to be poor. And so I never want anybody to think they don't qualify. We have scholarship options to make it work for people. But what would you say to somebody who's on the outside of the website right now, listening to this show, and they're like, I don't know if it'll work for me? What would you say?
Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to admit where you are now. Because honestly, it was really, when we did our assessment with you, Clay, we were like, well, we're doing this much a month, and that's embarrassing, and we're doing this much, and
we didn't think we would qualify. I mean, we didn't.
And I think to really understand your heart for people and your heart for excellence for people. And like Mom said, I think I've told you this before, but it was absolutely uncanny to the point that at one point we had it's like a connection, an additional connection with you. And that morning, and then that afternoon, one of our biggest influencers mentioned us in her broadcast.
Yeah.
And so literally you carry so much momentum. So I would say to anybody out there that's considering doing this, to give it a shot, to just
Please
go
don't
for it.
hesitate.
And honestly, just look at your budget and take out the things that are unnecessary so that you can afford to do this business coaching, because what you're getting is absolutely outrageous. And for whatever it's worth, I was even able to text Andrew multiple times. We're like panicked going, the website's down, or the website's blah, blah, blah. And he's like, we're on it. We're good. We got it done, handled it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, just to feel like we could trust fall with you guys when it is not none of this is my skill set. None of it. It's all uncomfortable. And to know that you have a well-oiled machine that we can go, oh, can we just come into that and just go, yes, I'll take your systems. It's incredible. It's been absolutely outrageous. And we look back and we laugh, but right now we are in a rocket ship.
Yeah.
And we're just going, oh gosh, we're going to have to, it's such a beautiful way. It's like, I think we're going to have to hire more people. And I think we're going to actually have to work, like literally have crews work around the clock for fulfillment. And, then we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then we may have to go there. We may have to get more, more storage units. We may have to do whatever. And it's just, we're to that fun part, but it's also managing growth.
Well,
but what I love is that we can still even ask you, hey, where we are right now, is it wise to do this, or should we stay here? And it's incredible. It's been wonderful.
My favorite part, and then I'll let you guys go. I love it when it's overwhelming. You're out of office space and everybody's selling something. That to me is the most exciting part, where people begin to share a desk, they share a chair. It gets socially awkward because your desk, you recognize that a box of product has become your desk. You recognize that you're taking notes on boxes, and that's exciting stuff. That's where you can't find your wallet because everything's being shipped in and out. That's an exciting place to be. So I encourage everybody, check out the Givaderm product today for anybody out there, and don't not do it because I'm endorsing it. Check it out, givaderm.com. Go there, givaderm.com. Check it out there. And then the final question is, how do we accurately pronounce your last name? Because you spell your last name, it's Grimnes. So someone's going, Grimes.
That's it. You got it the first time.
If you add an S, you will pronounce it correctly.
Yeah. So think of it. My dad would say, think of it as like, don't say this, Dad. He's like, think of it as like the grimness of the situation. I'm like, Dad, that's not good.
No,
Don't say that.
no,
Don't.
no,
It's good.
no,
No.
rejected.
Like, anyway.
Thank you, Team Grimness. Have a great day. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. It's been an honor. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Ryan Wimpy.
And I'm Rachel Wimpy, and the name of our business is Tip Top Canine.
Our business is a dog training business. We help people with behavioral issues and teach their dog how to listen. When I was learning to become a dog trainer, we didn't learn anything about internet marketing or advertising or anything at all. Just dog training. And that's what's so great about working with Clay and his team, because they do it all for us.
So that we can focus on our passion, and that's training dogs. Clay and his team here, they're so enthusiastic. Their energy is off the charts. Never a dull moment here at Thrive.
We've been working with Clay and his team for the last 5 months, 2 of which have been our biggest months ever. 1, our biggest gross by 35%. Clay's helped us make anything from brochures to stickers, new business cards, new logos, scripts for phones, script for email, script for text message, scripting for everything.
How I would describe the weekly meetings with Clay and his team are awesome. They're so effective. It's worth every minute. Things get done. We'll ask for things like different flyers, and they're done before our hour is up. So it's just awesome, extremely effective.
If you don't use Clay and his team, you're probably going to be pulling your hair out, or you're going to spend half of your time trying to figure out the online marketing game and producing your own flyers and marketing materials, print materials, all the stuff like that. You're really losing a lot as far as lost productivity and lost time. Not having a professional do it, it has a real sense of urgency and that actually knows what they're doing when you already have something that's your core focus that you already know how to do.
You would also be missing out with all the time and financial freedom that you would have working with Clay and his team.
We would recommend Clay and his team to other business owners because they need to be working on their business, not just trying to figure out the online game, which is complex and changing daily. So no one has a marketing team too. Most people don't. They can't afford one, and their local web guy or a local person that they know probably can't do everything that a whole team and a whole floor of people can do in hours and not just weeks or months. There's a definite sense of urgency with Clay and his team. I used to have to ride other web people, really ride them to get stuff done, and stuff is done so fast here, and there's a real sense of urgency to get it done.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Okay, Aaron Antis, March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, guess who's coming to Tulsa, Jerusalem?
Ooh, Santa Claus?
No, that's March 6th and 7th.
Oh.
We're going to be joined by Robert Kiyosaki. Best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Probably the best-selling, or one of the best-selling business authors of all time. And he's going to be joined with Eric Trump. He'll be joined by Eric Trump. So we got Eric Trump and Robert Kiyosaki in the same place. Aaron, why should everybody show up to hear Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, you got billions of dollars of business experience between those two, not to mention many, many, many millions of books have been sold. Many, many millionaires have been made from the books that have been sold by Robert Kiyosaki. I happen to be one of them. I learned from the man. He was the inspiration. That book was the inspiration for me to get the entrepreneurial spirit, as many other people.
Now, since you won't brag on yourself, I will. You've sold billions of dollars of houses, am I correct?
That is true.
And the book that kickstarted it all for you
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the author, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that kickstarted your career.
Yeah.
He's going to be here.
He's going to be here. I'm pumped.
And now Eric Trump, people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. There's not 50 employees. The Trump organization, again, most people don't know this, but the Trump organization has thousands of employees. And while Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of these United States and soon to be the 47th president of these United States, he needed someone to run the companies for him. And so the man that runs the Trump organization for Donald J. Trump, as he was the 45th president of the United States and now the 47th president of the United States, is Eric Trump. And so Eric Trump is here to talk about time management, promoting from within, marketing, branding, quality control, sales systems, workflow design, workflow mapping, how to build. I mean, everything that you see, the Trump hotels, the Trump golf courses, all their products, the man who manages billions of dollars of real estate and thousands of employees is here to teach us how to do it.
You are talking about one of the greatest brands on the planet from a business standpoint.
Right.
I mean, who else has been able to create a brand like the Trump brand? I mean, look at it. And this is the man behind the business for the last pretty much since 2015. He's been the man behind it. So you're talking, we're into 9 going into 10 years of him running it, and we get to tap into that knowledge. That's going to be amazing.
Now, think about this for a second. Would you buy a ticket just to see Robert Kiyosaki and Eric Trump? Of course you would.
Of course you would.
But we're also going to be joined by Sean Baker. This is the best-selling author, the guy who invented the carnivore diet.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Sean Baker. He's been on Joe Rogan multiple times. He's going to be joining us. So you've got Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Eric Trump, Sean Baker. The lineup continues to grow, and this is how we do our tickets here at the Thrivetime Show. If you want to get a VIP ticket, you can absolutely do it. It's $500 for a VIP ticket. We've always done it that way. Now, if you want to take a general admission ticket, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. And the reason why I do that, and the reason why we do that is because we want to make our events affordable for everybody. I grew up without money. I totally understand what it's like to be in a tight spot. So if you want to attend, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. That's how I do it. And it's $500 for a VIP ticket. Now, we only have limited seating here. With the most people we've ever had in this building was for the Jim Brewer presentation. Jim Brewer came here, the legendary comedian Jim Brewer came to Tulsa, and we had 419 people that were here. 419 people.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, there's no more room. I felt kind of bad that a couple people had VIP seats in the men's restroom. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But I thought, you know what? We should probably add on. So we're adding on what we call the upper deck, or the top shelf. So the seats are very close to the presenters, but we're actually building right now. We're adding on to the facility to make room to accommodate about another 30 attendees or more. So again, if you want to get tickets for this event, all you have to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. When you go to thrivetimeshow.com, you'll go there, you'll request a ticket, boom. Or if you want to text me, if you want a little bit faster service, you say, I want you to call me right now. Just text my number. It's my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number. We'll keep that private between you, me, everybody. We'll keep that private. And anybody, don't share that with anybody except for everybody. That's my private cell phone number. It's 918-851-0102. 918-851-0102. I know we have a lot of Spanish-speaking people that attend these conferences, and so to be bilingually sensitive, my cell phone number is 918-851-0102.
That is not actually bilingual. That's just saying Juan for a one. It's not the same thing.
I think you're attacking me. Now, let's talk about this. Now, what kind of stuff will you learn at the Thrivetime Show workshop? So, Aaron, you've been to many of these over the past 7-8 years. So let's talk about it. I'll tee up the thing, and then you tell me what you're going to learn here, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
You're going to learn marketing and branding. What are we going to learn about marketing and branding?
Oh, yeah. We're going to dive into, so many people say, I got to get my brand known out there, like the Trump brand, right? You want to get that brand out there. It's like, how do I actually make people know what my business is and make it a household name? You're going to learn some intricacies of how you can do that.
You're going to learn sales. So many people struggle to sell something. This just in, your business will go to hell if you can't sell. So we're going to teach you sales. We're going to teach you search engine optimization, how to come up top in the search engine results. We're going to teach you how to manage people. Aaron, you have managed, no exaggeration, hundreds of people throughout
throughout your career and thousands of contractors,
yeah.
and most people struggle with managing people. Why does everybody have to learn how to manage people?
Well, because first of all, people are, you either have great people or you have people who suck. And so it can be a challenge, you know, learning how to work with a large group of people and get everybody pulling in the same direction can be a challenge. But if you have the right systems, you have the right processes, and you're really good at selecting great ones, and we have a process we teach about how to find great people. When you start with the people who have a great attitude, they're teachable, they're driven, all of those things, then, you know, you can get those people all pulling in the same direction.
So we're going to teach you branding, marketing, sales, search engine optimization. We're going to teach you accounting. We're going to teach you personal finance, how to manage your finance. We're going to teach you time management. How do you manage your time? How do you get more done during a typical day? How do you build an organization if you're not organized? How do you do organization? How do you build an org chart? Everything that you need to know to start and grow a business will be taught during this 2-day interactive business workshop. Now, let me tell you how the format is set up here. And again, folks, this is a 2-day interactive 15. Think about this, folks. It's 2 days. Each day it starts at 7 a.m. and it goes until 5 p.m. So from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 2 days. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. The way we do it is we do a 30-minute teaching session, and then we break for 15 minutes for a question and answer session. So, Aaron, what kind of great stuff happens during that 15-minute question and answer session after every teaching session?
I actually think it's the best part about the workshops, because here's what happens. I've been to lots of these things over the years. I've paid many thousands of dollars to go to them. And you go in there and they talk in vague generalities, and they're constantly upselling you for something, trying to get you to buy this thing or that thing or this program or this membership. And you leave not getting your very specific questions answered about your business or your employees or what you're doing on your marketing. And what's awesome about this is we literally answer every single question that any person asks, and it's very specific to what your business is.
And what we do is we allow you as the attendee to write your questions on the whiteboard.
Yep.
And then we literally, as you mentioned, we answer every single question on the whiteboard. And then we take a 15-minute break to stretch and to make it entertaining when you're stretching. And this is a true story. When you get up and stretch, you'll be greeted by mariachis. There's going to probably be alpaca here, llamas, helicopter rides, a coffee bar, a snow cone. I mean, there's just...
You had a crocodile one time. That was pretty interesting.
You know, I should write that down and actually do that.
Sorry for that one guy that we lost.
The crocodile, we duct taped its face so that we duct taped.
No, it was a baby crocodile.
And it was duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape around the mouth so it didn't bite anybody. But it was really cool passing that thing around and
I should do that. We have a small petting zoo that will be assembled. It's going to be great. And then you're in the company of hundreds of entrepreneurs. So there's not a lot of people in America today. In fact, there's less than 10 million people today, according to U.S. Debt Clock, that identify as being self-employed. So if you have a country with 350 million people, that means you have less than 3% of our population that's even self-employed. Yeah. So you only have 3 out of every 100 people in America that are self-employed to begin with. And when Inc. magazine reports that 96% of businesses fail by default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of succeeding in the game of business.
It's tough.
But yet the average client that you and I work with, we can typically double this. And this is no hyperbole, no exaggeration. And I have thousands of testimonials to back this up. We have thousands of testimonials to back it up. But when you work with a home builder, when I work with a business owner, we can typically double the size of the company within 24 months.
Yeah.
Double. And you say double? Yeah, there's businesses that we have tripled. There's businesses we've grown 8x. There's so many examples you can see at thrivetimeshow.com. But again, this is the most interactive, best business workshop on the planet. This is objectively the highest rated and most reviewed business workshop on the planet. And then you add to that Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You add to that Eric Trump, the man that runs the Trump Organization. You add to that Sean Baker. Now you might take, but Clay, is there more? I need more. Well, okay, Tom Wheelwright is the wealth strategist for Robert Kiyosaki. So people say, Robert Kiyosaki, who's his financial wealth advisor? Who's the guy who manages, who's his wealth strategist? His wealth strategist, Tom Wheelwright, will be here. And you say, Clay, I'm not going to get a ticket unless you give me more. Okay, fine. We're going to serve you the same meal both days. True story. We cater in the food, and because I keep it simple. I literally bring in the same food both days for lunch. It's Ted Escondido's, an incredible Mexican restaurant. That's going to happen. And Jill Donovan, our good friend, who is the founder of Rustic Cuff. She started that company in her home, and now she sells millions of dollars of apparel and products. That's rusticcuff.com. And someone says, I want more. This is not enough.
Give me more.
Okay. I'm not going to mention their names right now because I'm working on it behind the scenes here. But we've got one guy who's given me a verbal to be here. And this is a guy who's one of the wealthiest people in Oklahoma. And nobody really knows who he is because he's built systems that are very utilitarian, that offer a lot of value. He's made a lot of money in it's where you rent. It's short term. It's where you're renting storage spaces. He's a storage space guy. He owns what do you call that? The rental,
storage space.
Storage units. This guy owns storage units. He owns railroad cars. He owns a lot of assets that make money on a daily basis, but they're not like customer facing. Most people don't know who owns the mini storage facility, or most people don't know who owns the warehouse that's passively making money. Most people don't know who owns the railroad cars, but this guy, he's given me a verbal that he will be here, and we just continue to add more and more success stories. So if you're out there today and you want to change your life, you want to give yourself an incredible gift, you want a life-changing experience, you want to learn how to start and grow a company, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Go there right now, thrivetimeshow.com. Request a ticket for the 2-day interactive event. Again, the day here is March 6th and 7th. March 6th and 7th, we just got confirmation. Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he'll be here. Eric Trump, the man who leads the Trump organization. It's going to be a blasty blast. There's no upsells. Aaron, I could not be more excited about this event.
I think it is incredible. And there's somebody out there right now, you're watching and you're like, but I already signed up for this incredible other program called Smoke Your Way to Thin. I think that's going to change your life. I promise you, this will be 10 times better than that.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Now, don't do the Smoke Your Way to Thin conference. That is, I've tried it. Don't do it.
Yeah, chain smoking is not a viable. I mean, it is life-changing. It is life-changing. If you become a chain smoker, it is life-changing.
Not the best weight loss program, though.
Right, really. So if you're looking to have life-changing results in a way that won't cause you to have a stoma, get your tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's Aaron Antis. I'm Clay Clark, and reminding you and inviting you to come out to the 2-day interactive Thrive Time Show workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I promise you, it will be a life-changing experience. We can't wait to see you right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.